pressing now. If rotary cutting was the most important step to quilt making, and then 1/4 inch seam allowance is next most important, pressing is certainly right up there. Without accurate and proper pressing, your piecing just isn't going to be as good as it possibly can be. We are looking for flat patchwork. That's what we're after, is flat patchwork. And so a couple of tools that will help you to achieve flat patchwork or proper pressing. You know, some products are best press, which is like a starch. It's a mild starch. It's certainly not as strong as a regular starch, you know, in an aerosol can. This Best Press by Mary Ellen's is very good. It's a very good product, and one that lots of quilters and lots of quilt shops carry. You can buy it in this big gallon jug and just refill these little spritz bottles. I'm going to use this in a minute, so I'll show you. The other thing I want to talk about is your actual iron. This particular iron is by Oliso, and it was made specifically for quilters for a couple of reasons. It's the heaviest domestic iron on the market, and that's something that you're after when you're wanting to do nice flat pressing. But a heavy iron is often hard on our shoulder or our wrists, especially if you suffer from arthritis or carpal tunnel or anything like that. So they made this handy dandy foot lever system where you don't actually have to continually, you know, move the iron back and forth like this and set it on its feet this way or on its backside this way. That's what causes tension in your shoulder and can be very painful. So what they've done is this lift system, so you don't have to constantly move it around. The other thing that's nice about this iron is the fill chamber is on the side of the iron. It's never at the front of the iron, which is often where you can get spits or spit up of your iron. So the fill chamber is on the side. It's got a very, very long cord. It's actually a 16-foot cord, which is much longer than most domestic irons. It's got this swivel so that it's never kinked. It's you know, it's always in your favor. Of course, it's got steam and spritz and, you know, all kinds of settings in here. I always have it to the hottest setting, which is cotton. It's got a huge sole plate on here, and you notice that the steam holes are moved to the side of the sole plate. That way, when you do use the steam function, you're not going to get any steam hole marks or burns or, you know, markings on your fabric. Great big sole plate, so that's very nice. It's also one of, it's 1800 watts, which is one of the hottest irons. It does have a lot of energy involved. Takes a lot of energy, but it is a very hot iron, which is what you want in pressing. It also has the longest shut off, which is nice because, you know, if you're like me, you get sewing and then you come back to your iron, oh, it's turned off again, and you got to shake it to get it going again. It's got the longest auto shut off. Has to be auto shut off in order to comply with domestic rules and restrictions, but it's got the longest time. Okay, so we're ready to press open this seam allowance. I have set my seam allowance into the fabrics like that first, and now it's time to press this open. So I give it a little shot of Best Press, just a little bit. You don't need a whole lot. Like I say, it acts as a bit of a starch or a stabilizer. It's really useful if you've pre-washed your fabrics. Pre-washing your fabrics obviously takes the sizing out of your fabric, and this puts it right back in. It makes it nice and crisp and usable. Not as crisp as full starch. This is a milder starch, but it just puts the hand back into your fabric. I wanted to mention a little bit about cleaning your iron as well. You know, sometimes it happens, we get a little bit of guck or sticky stuff or, you know, something onto our iron, onto the sole plate. And what is the best method? I've heard dryer sheets, I've heard, you know, just pressing into a washcloth or something. For me, this particular product has been the very best. It's called Hot Iron Cleaner, and it's by Dritz. And what you do, you just use it just like, you know, a little dot of toothpaste, put a little bit on a washcloth, on a dry cloth, and rub the sole plate of your iron while it's hot. Now it does create a bit of a smoke or a bit of a haze, so you want to do that in a well ventilated area, but certainly just rubbing off the sole plate quickly is not harmful, and it cleans it off just like brand new. So that's Hot Iron Cleaner by Dritz.